Hello everyone, and today I will be making one of my most highly requested dishes, that is the Soupe de Poisson ramen, and I think it's been requested for a good reason. It is, I think, one of my single most expensive dishes from the series to date. I mean, all of the seafood I got fresh, it's live, it's squirming. The lobster, the shrimp, the fish. I tried to get the eel, I couldn't get the eel, but I got a lot of fish bones. I'm really hoping this dish turns out okay, or else it's so not worth it. I mean, this dish, it takes a lot of effort. It will take you the whole day to make. And for more recipes like this one, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. And let's find out how this dish turns out. First, let's give our lobster a steaming hot sauna, and clearly it does not want to cooperate with me. This is why I hate preparing seafood live. The way they squirm is absolutely gross, oh my gosh. And this one refuses to go into the pot. Ugh. Next up is preparing the shrimp. Now this is even worse than the lobster because now we are going to pinch off its head while it's alive. So it is a really bad feeling. Now then, once our shrimp have been completely beheaded, we are going to boil the body portion. It won't take too long, probably 2 to 3 minutes until it turns pink. Scoop it out and set it aside to cool down. By this time, our lobster should be cool enough to handle. We are now going to take this apart. First is the 2 pinchers. Next is the head portion. Just rip it right off and take a spoon and scoop out the brains, I guess you can call it. Cut off the whiskers portion, and this shell is going to be part of our powder. Rip off its tail from the body portion, and the part with the legs attached to it is going to be part of our soup base. So just break it down to smaller chunks and place it together with our shrimp heads. Take a knife and cut straight down the center of the tail. Take out all the meat and you can eat it as it is, or you can make it into a seafood salad. It's up to you. Clear out everything in the center, and we are going to use this in the powder as well. Our shrimps should have cooled down by now, and it is now time to start peeling. It's going to take quite a while. Spread it all out as much as possible and bake for around 20 to 30 minutes. Be sure to keep an eye on it so it doesn't burn. Prepping for the soup base, chop off some celery, squash a few cloves of garlic, and dice up the tomatoes and cut up the onions. Heat some oil in the frying pan and stir fry the onions and garlic first, and then add in the celery, the tomatoes last, and keep stir frying until everything turns all mushy. In a large pot, combine the fish bones, the shrimp heads, and our lobster scraps and bring it to a boil. Scoop off as much foam as you can. Add in our stir-fried veggies from a while ago. Throw in a few basil leaves, some brandy or white wine, or whatever you have. If you think I'm going to make the shell powder by hand like Kurokiba, you are very much mistaken. That's what food processors are for. I'm just breaking it up into smaller chunks before putting them in. In the end, you should get a fine powder that looks like this. It seriously is so fine that it made me sneeze when I opened the lid. It's awesome. Next up, I'll be making the garlic sauce, and I saw so many different variations online for this, some with breadcrumbs and some without, so I guess it's up to you what you want to use. I just picked one of the variations and just mix everything together. If you happen to add too much breadcrumbs like me, feel free to add more olive oil and keep mixing until it gets to a desired consistency. 2 hours later, our soup base should be finished, and now it's time to take out all the larger scraps of fish, for example this huge fish head, and that is so when we pour this, we don't splatter soup all over the place. Don't forget to squeeze out as much of the fishy goodness out of the scraps as possible. Pour the soup back into the pot and add in our shell powder, some black pepper and salt to taste, and we are going to simmer this down a little bit more to make it even more richer than it already is. One last thing to make, and that is the replacement for the croutons, the little fried bits. Just mix equal parts flour and water and add in some shell powder and mix it all together. To make life a lot easier, use a large syringe and make little drops in the oil. Be sure not to drip it out too fast or you're gonna get a large clump. Never mind what I said earlier, this is the last thing we need to make, the butter baguette with the shell powder. At long last, it's time to put everything together. Boil some ramen noodles and pour the soup base on top. Scoop a bit of our sauce, our garlic sauce on top. It's actually too solid to be called a sauce, but that's okay. It's going to be dissolved in the soup. Then scoop on some cheese and the fried bits. This is actually really good by itself. It's like shrimp chips. And the baked baguette. And we are finished. Finally! Alright guys, here's my bowl of ramen. It smells really, really good. It's a very strong seafood smell actually, very, very strong. And I think it has a lot to do with the shell powder that I put in. My food processor milled it down really, really finely and it literally floats in the air. And I think some of it's my nose actually. It's a very strong smell. It smells so good. Let's give this a taste. And I'm gonna mix the garlic egg yolk sauce into the soup. And the cheese is melted. Let's have a bite. Oh, pair with the sauce, not the sauce, but it's like the garlic paste thingy. Oh, it's really strong flavor. I like it. It's really good. Wow, the soup is really rich too. Overall, my verdict is that it's money well spent. None of it is gone to waste. It tastes fantastic. All the seafood, it literally is in the soup. I mean, it's a very, very rich soup. If you're into rich soup stocks, this is definitely something to try. I mean, all those fish bones, all the lobster parts, I mean, and the shrimp heads. Really, really rich, and I highly recommend you guys to give this a try if you have the time. I mean, this took me really, really long to make, but the taste is really worth it. I will have to say a huge success, and I am going to go happily finish the rest of my ramen now, and I will see you guys next week. Bye bye!